Today on Locked On Rockies, we got our takeaways from Rockies Fest as the Rockies continue to say the right things. Unfortunately, we won't know if it's all talk or not until the players hit the field.
You are Locked On Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock on Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked On Rockies podcast for today, the 27th day of January in the year 2026. I'm your host of the Locked On Rockies podcast, Paul Holden, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. And if your team is the Colorado Rockies, guess what? You're in the right spot because that's what we do around here. Free and streaming on your favorite streaming services and on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, where you can be part of the show. You can fire off your Rockies hot takes. You can let me know what's on your mind when it comes to the Colorado Rockies. And I want to thank you so much for making us your first listen of the day. Shout outs to our everydayers out there. I am, of course, Paul Holden, your Rockies fan extraordinaire. Been bringing you this podcast for over 5 seasons now, and been rocking and rolling with the Rockies my entire life. Today, we'll react to some of the comments made by the Rockies players and front office at Rockies Fest over the weekend. Good, sound bites and good things to say. But we are reaching a point where it's going to be, okay, we've been focusing on the talk. We just got to kind of also wait and see until the players hit the field. But I thought Hunter Goodman had an interesting mindset and an interesting quote here about reflecting on the past and reflecting last year that I want to talk about. Plus, something that is a great sign for Rockies fans and something we've talked about on this show before. The Rockies are embracing and celebrating more of their history, which is a good thing, with them adding statues of Larry Walker and Todd Helton to Coors Field. We're going to talk about all that and more on today's show and get to your comments as well, all on today's episode. And folks, thank you again so much for tuning in here. Really appreciate that. So obviously Rockies Fest over the weekend, 5,000 Rockies fans showing up there. It's cold. And I like this. There was a comment, following up here when one commenter asked, why would you go to Rockies Fest? Why would you go and go check this out here? And this is what Lux has to say. I think Rockies Fan Fests are always worth going to. There's no outside noise, so you're not going to get trashed on by other Major League Baseball fans for going. I've met some very cool and nice people at Fan Fest, and in the past, I got to meet players like Trevor Story. They have a garage sale, too. The garage sale, man. I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of the most jealous of the garage sale of not being able to go because there always seems to be some cool stuff. Autographs, not only that, but you get to meet all-time players, current players, and young prospects. This year, Charlie Blackmon, Larry Walker, and Todd Helton. And for young prospects, Charlie Condon and Ethan Holiday. It's always fun getting to meet players and have conversations with them. And I think it's a testament. Again, it's a fan fest thing. It's obviously not the biggest slice of the entire, the entire fandom, but for 5,000 fans to show up in the wake of one of the worst seasons of all time shows that the Rockies have done enough stuff to keep at least a little bit of interest for the fan. The Fan Fest has the diehards, right? Lux comments all the time as an everydayer is bought in. But I think that there's enough. I think if you are going into this Rockies Fest like last year, or if the Rockies experienced what they experienced last year, didn't really do a lot of things, didn't change a lot, I don't think you would have seen a lot of people interested in going to see the Rockies continue the status quo. So I think that's a big reason. I think a lot of Rockies fans showed up to Rockies Fest to see and hear directly from the leadership and the players about what is different about this team. And it seems like that was a big chunk of the conversation there. And of course, they also announced the news of adding the statues of Todd and Larry, and we'll get to that here in segment number 2. But I thought it was interesting to get Hunter Goodman's take on this season and his quotes on how he looked at last year, how the Rockies players themselves looked at last year, and how I think this does set the tone for the Rockies to be moving in the different direction. We have to see it, right? I think all of this stuff goes with that grain of salt of we have to see it play out on the field. We're at the point of the offseason. We've had the press conferences. We've heard the quotes. We've heard these things, throughout the offseason and since the changes are made. We have to see it be applied. But I did like the way that Hunter Goodman, answered some of these questions here a little bit. And this is from Patrick Saunders in the Denver Post. Rockies Hunter Goodman on rebuild entering 2026. We can't just be happy to be here. Let's see. This is a quote from Goodman. Last year, we had a super young team. He included the 23-year-old Goodman said of a Rockies squad that lost 119 games and set a major league record for futility with a minus 424 run differential. I think we had a lot of people who were just happy to be here. When I first got called up, I was just happy to be here. And you can't play like that. You've got to walk on the field and be like, we're the best team. I'm the best player on the field. You've got to walk on the field with a different level of confidence. That sure wasn't the case last season when the Rockies got blown out in many games and were outscored 142-53 in the first inning, putting them in deep holes early. I think there are some series in some games last year where it was like we're walking onto the field as a team, looking around, and maybe guys weren't super confident. So I think bringing a different mentality to the game would be a big step in the right direction. And that we've heard, players aren't just going to get their spots handed to them. Players can't just expect it to be called up and get playing time. This is the new expectation for the Rockies. Hey, there was some good feel good stories last year, right? And the situation the Rockies had found themselves in at the end of the season, it's always great to hear when you got guys that are able to come up and make their debuts, the Dugan Darnells, the all sorts of those type of stories. It's nice to see that the Rockies are had some of these opportunities and moments for these guys. But I'm tired of the Rockies feel good big moment is, here, look at this guy, the warming Bernabels, right? Look at these guys that get called up and they're finally getting their shot. These lifelong minor leaguers. Hey, look at them. They're getting their shot with the Rockies in August and September. Love hey, great for them. Always rooting for guys to get their opportunity. Always rooting for those guys to at least be able to say, I was a major leaguer. But Hunter Goodman's right. The standard and the expectation and the Rockies can't just be made up of a bunch of guys that are happy to be here. Happy to be able to say, hey, I'm out here on the ball field. I'm a major league ball player. I'm enjoying it. Now you should have that type of element in your life, right? You should be able to look at yourself and be like, hey, I'm pretty lucky. I'm in a great spot here. I'm playing Major League Baseball. I am happy to be here. But it is going to start showing like the Rockies have a long way to go to building that competitive edge. Not only is the roster going to be basically outmatched in just about every series and just about every game this year when you're just talking about, the comparing rosters and skill levels. But now is the time for the Rockies to establish themselves as it's not the cakewalk anymore. It isn't the old way anymore. We have to be a team that's built off of competition. We have to be a team where you have to earn your spot, and you have to earn your spot by consistently performing and consistently being, a contributor to the team. So I know it's just one of those things, but I think it's nice to continue to be, for it to be hammered in, right? It really seems like one of the things that when the Rockies have been talking to the press or giving some insight into things, it is about, we want to build this, and wanting to build it is great. But why 2026 is important is that's where they show it. It's where Hunter Goodman shows that he wasn't just a flash in the pan, and the standard of last year or what he did last year is the standard. It's like we talked about. It's guys like Tovar and Doyle getting back into that level. It's guys when they get their moment, get their opportunity, shine. Whether that be Charlie Condon at third base or Jordan Beck in the outfield or Mickey Moniak, any of these guys, when you have your moment, You have to be able to perform and be consistent with it. Is something we've always talked about as well. Let's continue to go through this here a little bit here. This is what Paul DePodesta has to say about this as well. I think everybody up here is hyper competitive when they're obviously all sitting and speaking. The new president of baseball operations said from a stage filled with his fellow front office personnel, "I can't stand to lose." Well, unfortunately, Paul, you've been a part of the last organization you were with did a lot of losing too. So this is about there's that prove it level there too, and of course, no one likes to lose. So at least from our end, there has to be a change in the standards and expectations for our players and for our coaches. Our players need to feel that from us. Like you said, hammering home that it's a different era. It's a different how it was last year. Don't expect that to be the same. And here's what DePodesta adds. Look, there are things that are going to be difficult and there will be obstacles in our way. It's not going to happen easily or quickly, but we absolutely have high expectations. And that is every other, organizations should have those high standards. So all in all with that type of stuff, it's intriguing to see. Not intriguing, but as we're continuing to kind of like, if we want for a fan driven event, they continue to say stuff that should excite the fan. But I don't think Rockies fans are going to sit here and immediately buy fully into everything and just fully say everything is going to be on the right track until we see it. Until we see that this team looks better on the field and looks more competitive, Rockies fans are going to be hesitant. Until we see that this team wins some ball games, sneaks out some wins, steals a couple of series, bounces back in a couple of games, is better in the beginning of games and not getting blown out in the first inning, Rockies fans are going to be hesitant. So as much as we've been sitting here and talking about them, hey, saying and the right things and changing things up with the front office and holding these standards, it's good to tell us. But I don't think the Rockies fan out there is sitting and fully buying into all of the changes quite yet. I think you can be interested. I think you can be hopeful. I think you can be, optimistic. But I think if you are hopeful and optimistic as a Rockies fan, which not all of them are, you're still cautiously optimistic. There's still a lot of stuff that has to happen and a lot of change, as DePodesta mentions there. A couple more quotes I want to go through here, including how Hunter Goodman is looking at 2025 as a whole. And the big news, of course, from Rockies Fest, the statues for two Rockies legends coming up. All that and more on today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes FanDuel. Tough one. Broncos country. Certainly not the way we wanted it to go. But it's the last call for football on FanDuel. One final Sunday, one last kickoff, the final chance to get on the action before the NFL season officially comes to a close. This is Super Bowl 60, and FanDuel is making sure you're right in the middle of it with a special offer just in time for the biggest game of the year. Whether you're backing the favorite, riding with the underdog, or building one last same-game parlay, this is the game everyone's been waiting for. If you're a new customer, bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if you win. Yes, that's right, just $5, and that's going to get you $200 in bonus bets if you win. Make it count, because after the Super Bowl, the season is over. And unfortunately, the season is over for our beloved Denver Broncos, who should be in this game. Last call for football on FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 60. Visit FanDuel.com. That's FanDuel.com to get started. Back at it here for segment number 2 of today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Thank you for making us your first listen of the day, and your support has made the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network. Hey, we got something cool going on. It's the Locked On Everydayer Club. You can get access to an ad-free audio feed for the Locked On Rockies podcast, compatible with all your favorite streaming services. And you can check out the Locked On Everydayer Club Discord server, which you get exclusive chatter with all sorts of folks around the sporting world, and a special channel just for us here on Locked On Rockies. You can head on over to lockedonpodcasts.com/everydayer club if you need more information. But if you want to specifically check out the Locked On Rockies one, well, you can head on over to, once I get this pulled up, where did they change? They changed this on me? Where'd we go? Anyway, it is lockedonrockies.supercast.com. That's lockedonrockies.supercast.com. Okay, so we were going through these quotes here, and again, kind of still going through that surface level stuff. We're still in the doldrums here, a little bit under a month of until spring training gets started here. But I wanted to go back and look at some of the comments here from Warren Schaefer, but I also wanted to go back and look at what we're talking about. Hunter Goodman's comments here, and I want to see. I think it's an interesting way to look at last year, and this is what Hunter Goodman says. Me personally, I don't want to forget about it. He said, it kind of lights a fire on me. It was a tough year. Nobody wants to lose that much. Nobody wants that to happen. I think the guys who we have to look at it like we can't let that happen again. We're talking about setting new standards for the team, right? And for this team to be going and building a new era, building a new identity, building something different, building something different. This mentality is the right one to have. You can't just flush being the worst team in baseball without. It's not as simple as just saying, all right, it's over, it's done with. Let's move on. No, it's about, we can't let this happen again. We can't continue to let the standard of Colorado Rockies baseball be 100 lost seasons. Worst team in baseball, can't pitch, can't hit, can't do these things. Now, the players that are still on the roster, they now have gone through that experience. Kyle Freeland's got a couple of quotes in here talking about, the changes and buying into a lot of stuff, some of the similar stuff we've already heard and talked about. But I think this is when you're looking for a trait, a leadership trait here, this could be a small little hey, Hunter Goodman is trying to take a step forward towards being a young guy, but a young guy that's got leadership on the brain, that's got lead by example on the brain, because it's hard to just brush off what happened. You think you can just, the season ends and it's over and done with. But for these being competitive athletes, for these guys that have worked so hard to get here, and then for it to be so uncompetitive, for it to be such a terrible season, it's not as easy as just saying, whatever, it's over, done with. No, that's how bad it can get. That's how bad a season can go. That's how poorly a team can be run. That's how poorly a team can perform. There are zero excuses for the Colorado Rockies last year. And as much as we all want to move on, when you need motivation, or if you're looking for motivation, or I guess, looking for motivation, last year should be a motivator for you. And I hope it's a motivator for the Rockies to really show what is different. And I hope it all pans out and plays out on the field here. So just wanted to bring up just a couple of quotes from Warren Schaefer here before we get to our conversation about the statues here. The goal is to create a sustainable winner for the city of Denver. That should be non-negotiable. We're going to talk about it constantly. We're going to work and train towards it every day. That goes to setting the goals high and winning championships here. But it starts with winning every day of practice. It's one thing to say it, but you should be able to see what the process looks like. It's all about the process that we're trying to create. We all believe in it, and a lot of it pertains to the people that we've hired. That's when you're looking, that's what we want it's not a mind-blowing quote, but that's kind of my whole thought process going into 2026 is I just want to see the team look better and perform better on the field. I want them to not get blown out. I want them to be in close games. And even if they lose close games, I just don't want it to be blown out in the first inning, the game's over by the second type of thing. I want to see that the Rockies have, not only are they buying into the new system, but they're thriving in it. They're benefiting from it. So I truly hope that we do see it. But I like that Schaefer does, point that out and follow that up with, you got to see it. You got to see it's one thing to say it, but you should be able to see what that process looks like. And I hope we can see the process pan out in real time. And again, I'm not saying that, just because they got a new philosophy, just because they got a new coach, just because they have new front staff, we should, and they're telling us all this stuff, everything's going to be different with the Rockies. No, it is going to take time, as they've emphasized throughout this offseason. But I want to see it. I want to see better at bats. I want to see more aggression on the base paths. I want to see better defense. I want to see pitchers go deeper in games. I want to see pitchers strike more guys out. I want to see better, quality at bats, more walks, that type of stuff. And if we see those things, and we see the Rockies are losing 3-2, 4-6-4, playing close games, bouncing back, and again, probably, losing more games than not just probably, let's be realistic, but as long as they look like a more competitive team, that's a win. That's a good thing for 2026. I just hope that the process actually clicks. We've heard about buying into the process, got to do these things. We love we believe in our guys, we believe in our talent. I think that's a little different. It's not just saying, hey, we believe in the roster that we built, we believe in our talent, we just wait until these guys hit the big leagues type of conversations we've had before. It's we got talent here, but our expectations are higher than they've ever been. And they should be as the Rockies look to rebound and rebuild. All right, went off on my little tangent there a little longer than I thought. So let's get to the statue talk here coming up in segment number 3. Back at it here on Locked On Rockies. Been reacting to Rockies Fest. Hey, if you went to Rockies Fest, let me know in the comments below. Would love to hear your insights. Would love to get your thoughts, your take. And hey, the Rockies fans that were there, how did you feel about hearing this stuff? What was it like to hear that? Did you walk away feeling more confident? Did you walk away feeling, this is lip service? It doesn't matter what you tell me until you start, winning ball games. I don't want to hear any of this type of stuff. Let me know in the comment section below. And the best way to be part of the show is by commenting on Locked On Rockies, just like so many of you do all the time. Really appreciate that, of course. So one thing that is a bigger deal to me, maybe I've made this a bigger deal on my time on this show, but I was really impressed. I shouldn't say impressed. I was really happy. Happy is the better word than impressed. I was happy that the Rockies announced that they're unveiling statues of Todd Helton and Larry Walker at Coors Field this year, because it's time for the Rockies to celebrate their team and celebrate their history. Yes, I know that the team above all has been a bad team and yada, yada, yada. I understand that. But there's still been a lot of great players on the Rockies, highlighted by the fact that they have 2 Hall of Famers. They got 2 guys wearing Rockies caps in the Hall of Fame. That matters. And now, as they continue, as they're focusing on new revenue options and building the, how do you handle the fan experience? They're bringing in new ideas there. This should set the stage for, I want to see more stuff celebrating Rockies history at Coors Field. Other teams have museums. The Rockies are a team that has enough history to have a museum. Now, let's be real. It's not going to be the Reds Hall of Fame. It's not going to be the Royals Hall of Fame. but you do have enough history and enough iconic moments and enough, things that you could point to. And that would be awesome for, a lot of Rockies fans that are my age or close to it, that are having families and having kids now. They can say, "Oh man, I grew up with Rocktober. Let's go check out the Rocktober exhibit and get to experience a very unique and very awesome storyline in baseball that also just happens to be Rockies related, right? Let's learn about the Blake Street Bombers. Let's have the exhibit. Let's see the shell that Dinger popped out of, when he was first unveiled." I love this move. Now, hopefully the statues turn out well and stuff. And I'm curious what the poses will be for the players here. I got to imagine Todd's is when he's running around after hitting the home run with the rock symbol going on there. Larry, do you think it's just like the after the home run kind of? But was that really Larry, the fist pump? I feel like that was it's been. I wonder what the pose will be, right? Because Todd really has two iconic poses that could easily make the statue. You got of course, hitting the home run against the Dodgers. And the the throwing the horns up there as he rounds the bases and shows the most emotion Todd Helton maybe has ever shown on a baseball field ever. Or you have the scoop, right? You got the scoop to send the Rockies to the World Series where the hands are up in the air and he's all pumped. I wonder what Larry's will be. I'm trying to think of the iconic. Would it be, it'd be hilarious. Put him in the All-Star game with the helmet on backwards, right? That would be the something that I would love to see, because I'm just I think you easily just do it with that just stare, with that stance, right, with the bat tilted up. It's got to be that, right? It's just him in the box ready to let it rip, and you got to make the bat red. That's my burned in my brain. One of the first reasons is I was a young kid that why I loved Larry Walker. He used a red bat. But celebrating Rockies history is a good thing. Giving you a reason now, which is a good sign. We're talking about, let's tell the story of the Bombers. Let's tell the story of Rocktober. Well, now you got a good starting point here with that. And obviously there's some stuff here and there and some stuff in the stadium. But I think I think it's a good thing to tell your story, to give fans a chance to learn more about the great players and the greatness that has existed in your organization, instead of just, not celebrating and being, only letting the outside narratives really dominate. You've had great talent on this team. The Rockies might be in the position that they're in currently, certainly, but that doesn't mean they haven't had great players and big moments in the past. So I'm really encouraged by this. I'm really looking forward to this, and I'm hoping for the best for the Rockies here. Not only I'm hoping for more in this celebrating the Rockies, but you can't have two Hall of Famers and not do something special other than just putting their names or their numbers up. They're retired. So really cool to see. And I hope this is the sign that more Rockies history is going to be shown off and remembered. So, all right, folks, that is going to do it for us today on Locked On Rockies. Thank you so much for making us your first listen of the day. We'll be back in action with another episode for you tomorrow as we continue to rock and roll through the Rockies offseason. Less than a month until spring training baseball is here. Rockies making any more moves? What do you think? How did you feel at Rockies Fest? Let me know in the Locked On Rockies YouTube comment section. Until next time, this is Paul Holden saying so long from the Locked On. Oh, wait, let me, before we do that, second listen, go check out Locked On MLB. Go through get ready for the offseason and deal with the unfortunate disappointment of the Broncos and see what's next for our beloved Broncos with Locked On Broncos. But hey, Nuggets, Avalanche, those seasons still in full swing, and we got you covered with Locked On Nuggets, Locked On Avalanche, and of course, Locked On Buffs if you need this latest out of Boulder. Until next time, I'm Paul Holden saying so long from the Locked On Rockies podcast.